And welcome to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. We have an excellent show today. I'm so grateful for this particular guest. Her name is Sherry Prindle. Sherry is a coach, a mentor, and a speaker talking to not only, I'll say, this nation, but she has touched others as well. Every day she finds the way to really see what a person's purpose, their passion, connect those two to create a massive income for those folks. I'm so grateful that she's here. Sherry, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. What an honor. You are quite the man about town. Everyone knows you.
Well, thank you so much. It's actually, this show is really about you. And I want to say thank you for all that you've done for me. This last year, you've been able to help me. You call it pull me off of the edge, so to speak. And I'm just grateful for that. But I want to get into the fact that you touch people in a way, you help people really connect their passion, their purpose, and to create synergy and income out of that that's excellent and superior to most people in your industry. What's your story? How do you create that?
So I was always the one that had a dream, right? And every time I was talking to the kids on the playground, it was always, what do you want to be when you grow up? And all the way through high school, I would be like, you could do this, you could do that. That was just always what it was about. So I have a coach training school, and I believe that you're just born a coach. Everyone that comes to my school, the only thing they have in common is people have always come to me for advice. So I just couldn't help it. It was just like, life is about following your dreams. And then people go get a job doing something they hate.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, right?
Really, it's like, don't do that.
So I never did that. I want you to know I never did that. Not to say I didn't work at Long John Silver's in high school, but from the time I got my undergraduate degree and traveled the world and got my graduate degree, I've always just thought, well, if it's what I'm doing for a living, shouldn't I be doing what I do best and what I love doing,
Yeah. So tell me about the programs that you've set up and how you got there. It'd be really good to hear.
Yeah. So I lived in the Midwest, just a normal childhood, and as an exchange student, I went overseas.
Really?
And I got to lived in Japan for 4 years, Russia for 3 years, and ended up being in TV and radio in those places, and recognized, okay, wait. People are really inspired by what I'm doing in this arena. So when I came back to the United States and went to graduate school and thought, what do I want to be when I grow up? I thought, well, the one thing I could always do is speak to people. Only I didn't like radio because we talked about pop culture.
Right.
And I didn't like TV news because in TV news they kind of create news where there isn't news, and they ask people the question they don't want to answer, and I didn't like seeing people squirm.
Yeah.
So I thought, how do I use that skill? And it was like, wait a minute. There's this thing called training seminars and workshops where I get to talk about things people want to hear and not make them squirm, but make them excited and use my gift. And it was like the first time I taught a seminar, I could hear it. Click. I had found exactly what my calling was. And then it came back to, wait, everybody should be doing what their calling is.
Yeah. Well, and you're really good at not only tapping into what your DNA was really made for, but you see in others what that secret is. Was there a time when it was tough in that transition from trainer to becoming not just proficient, but really good at wanting people wanting you back for things like that?
You know what? I think the hardest part for me and for my clients is asking for money. So I'd been helping people like that forever, just like when you came on board and I was kind of working with you. Oh yeah, here, take as much of my time as you want. Here, pick my brain. Look, I have a little worksheet for you. Let me take you through this. That was fine, but then I was like, wait, I'm defying the very thing I'm trying to do, because the idea is not just to connect your passion and purpose, but make a profession and profit out of it, and I was not doing that. So the hard part was, you know what, let's schedule a coaching session that's 90 minutes and it's going to cost this.
Yeah. Well, it's the pick your brain fee kind of thing. Because a lot of people will do that. They'll come to you and say, hey, can I pick your brain? And I go, yeah, well, sure, there's a fee for that. Because you've invested a ton to become the woman that you are. And I sense that, and I see that, and I'm so grateful that you've created a way to generate income. And you do this through what methods?
So I started out doing training seminars and actually then started coaching, and then thought, coaching, man, that's it. When the people come to me and say, I want to follow my dream, my passion, not everybody's a speaker, but if you're a natural born coach, there are all kinds of coaches out there.
Right.
So I not only learned how to be a coach, but I trained people to become coaches, thinking that's it, that's the avenue where I can help people follow their dreams. But then I discovered that the coaching training was awesome, everyone loved it, but what they really loved the most was the coaching sessions for me that came with it, where I helped them discover what's your purpose really, like not like a head purpose, but a heart purpose. What are you really passionate about? And by the way, most people don't know what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
I helped them discover those things, and then I actually laid out the plan for making money doing it.
That is so cool. I know that one of the things that I've seen with you is that you inspire people. And after the break, one of the things I really want to get into is, do you ever run into folks that are, I want to say, fighting the unworthiness stick, fighting something that says, you know what, I'm just not sure if I'm really all that, and trying to rewire somebody to where they begin to believe in themselves, to where they begin to move forward, take action, and change lives. I mean, I think that's the real secret when it comes to changing or finding your passion, connecting it with your purpose, and then creating really a destiny that has some dollar signs next to it. The Business Spotlight today, we're talking with Sherry Prindle. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this Business Spotlight. My name is Patrick Dewar. I'm the host, and I'm so grateful for today's guest, Sherry Prindle. She's a professional coach, a mentor, a speaker, and she's touched the nation helping people find their passion and their purpose, and connecting those two to detonate a profession that actually generates revenue for themselves and their family. Sherry, this segment, I really want to get into what makes you special or different from so many of the coaches that are out there. Help us out.
So I wonder if I could just take you through an exercise, take everybody through an exercise.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So how do you find your purpose, and how do you latch onto that and keep that top of mind as you're going through your life, so that you don't fall back into the trap of, I'm not worthy, I'm not secure if I don't have a job, all those things that hold us back, right? So what I would invite everyone to do is think back to your earliest childhood memory. And a lot of people say, I can't think of one. The earliest one, if the earliest childhood memory is when you're 13, that was the earliest one you can think of. But try to think back to the earliest childhood memory that was somewhat negative. Now, I don't mean negative from the adult perspective, but at the time it was negative for you. So try and think of what that memory is. And as you think of a childhood memory, there are basically three questions. There's what happened, what did you make it mean, what did you decide about yourself, and then the companion question, what did you decide about the world? Usually through that one exercise, what we do is we uncover that at a very, very young age, we humans are wired to make decisions about the world and then live our entire lives based on decisions that we made when we were 3.5 years old.
Wow.
So once we find that, then I start helping them discover where in their life they've kept repeating that same pattern. And by the way, there are several memories like this, so we can then find more and more and more. Once you start doing that, then it's so easy to go, wait, I'm just repeating that pattern. And the thing that a year ago you were like a slave to, like, I can't stop myself from procrastinating, now you can, because you're like, wait, that's just a repeated pattern of a decision I made when I was 3.5 years old. It's so powerful. And then all of a sudden you're like, now I get my purpose. My purpose is to help other people who have made those same decisions, or my purpose is within that pain, whatever it was that helped me get past that pain, I can help others get past that pain into this new thing. It is such a novel way. It's like finding your purpose in your pain.
One of the things that's key in there is something that, as we speak to people every day, and I have to acknowledge that adults are kids in big clothing. the average emotional age of the American adult is about 8th grade, 7th grade. And so those programs, first memory, I was sitting there thinking 8th, 9th grade. And it was something that shaped me for years and years because of something that was a prank that was played on me and what I put the interpretation on. It took a long time until somebody actually walked me through the process of, you know what, that doesn't mean that. The truth here is. So how do you create that shift from, and essentially selling the lie, releasing the lie, and buying the truth that transforms them?
So that's when your traditional methods of behavior change come into play. So it becomes, now that I'm aware, and awareness is only the first step, so that now I don't just automatically fall into the pattern, I go up and it breaks the pattern. And then you're like, okay, I break the pattern, but you can't stop a habit, you have to replace the habit.
Right.
So then you create, this is where I want to go now, and then you actually, that's where coaching comes into play. That's where I do a lot of mastermind groups. It's easy to be right there and be like, I'll never do that again. Yes, you will if you don't constantly have a structure around you. So then it's about creating an infrastructure where you have people that you interact with, people who know what path you're on, reminders everywhere. You build a lifestyle with a structure that is designed to keep you on the new path.
Right. So you're talking about rewriting their hard drive, okay, and giving them action steps, a real plan that's step by step to create a new habit. And how long do you think it takes to really create an automatic habit rather than one that's just kind of embedded?
Do you mean that 21 days is how long it takes to create a habit, that you think that's a little bit of an oversimplification?
Well, I know that I've done that. The 22nd day I took a break and I had to start over again. So how long does it really take?
Yeah, so I do believe that the first 21 days is when you get the resistance. And after 21 days, that really strong resistance, because you actually now have a neural pathway, that's there. But remember, the old pattern is still in there, just like the new and the old pattern, stronger, right? So it's kind of like if you look at the two roads that diverged in the yellow wood, and this one was the less traveled path. Well, if you go up and down the path long enough, that one becomes the more traveled path. The old path is still going to be there, but the key is for that one to become the more traveled path.
Right.
So what we find is that in 90-day cycles, when you coach with people, then that one actually starts to become the more traveled path. It's the preferred path. But remember, the other one's still there. So I say you also need to create a new structure of your life so that you actually have regular masterminding, so that you have support, people who support you, and so that you actually, your livelihood is consistent with your new mindset.
Right. One of the things about mastermind, people may not recognize that term quite like you and I do. And the benefit, what do you think is the benefit of having a group of people that co-create with you the breakthrough that you need? And really, well, I guess what we're going to have to do is pick this up after the break. I'm so grateful for Sherry being on the air today. She has she's changed my life in so many ways, helped me rewire some things, and I know she can do it for you. Remember, she's the coach that can take you from your passion, to connect it to your profession, and really make the profession, passion, purpose, connect those two, birth a profession that can generate revenue for you in a way that you've really desired it. This is the Business Spotlight. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. My guest today, Sherry Prindle. We're having a great show today on the topic of how do we find our passion? How do we connect it to our purpose? And then generate a real income, a profession that can help you and your family. This time, Sherry, we want to talk about really, I want to say, who's your message for? It's who are you really trying to reach? Who are you helping currently, and how is that happening?
So this ties in with the question before the break about the mastermind, because I'm a firm believer that if you are 5 steps ahead of someone on the path, you are qualified to coach and help them. probably more qualified than the person who's way along the path, because that person forgets what it was like to be here and doesn't know what the steps are that this person needs to take to get there. So when I train coaches, I have people who come in and say, I didn't graduate high school. Great. You know what you've done? You overcame this, and the people that you want to coach haven't overcome that yet, so you're qualified. So when I say who is it that I reach, I'm going to combine that with what is the purpose of Mastermind. So in Mastermind, the idea is I'm here and I mastermind with people who are a little above me. And then when we create Mastermind together, we create another dimension of energy and thought that's above any of us, right? Because it's about the collective. And so with that in mind, who I want to reach are those of you who just know that you were here for, brought here for a reason, that you have a real unique purpose that's all your own, and you're so tired of getting in touch with it. You go to a workshop on the weekend, you go to church on Sunday, whatever you do, and then you have to go back to the 9 to 5. And why is it that our society says it's only okay to make an income manufacturing lipstick dispensers or whatever thing you do for a living, but not make money really helping people with what matters? And I think we're seeing a bit of an economic paradigm. People are getting more and more accustomed to, let me pay for a coach, let me pay for acupuncture, let me pay for someone to come in and help me shop and buy clothes that are flattering to me. We're getting more and more like that. So that's who it is. It's you who know you have a purpose and you're tired of spending 80% of your time and energy on something that's inconsistent with that purpose.
Absolutely. Well, there's two things that I see that you brought up. One is there are riches and niches. A lot of people sit there and they think, well, I need to, how can I create, I was this way. How can I create an income speaking? I wanted to, I love to share, I love to encourage others, but I didn't know how to do that until I hired a coach, until I found some folks that, just like you, helped me realize that I might be 5 steps in front of somebody, but when you're climbing a mountain, it's not the guy leading the pack that's going to be the most help. It's the one that's right in front of you that can help you across those 5 to 7 steps, right?
Right.
So when it comes to that, what are the steps that you would say, even before they might talk to you, what are some steps that they can begin to do to help them get them ready to talk to you?
Yeah. So, I have these 14 P's that I call the Prindle's dozen that you go through and that you need to identify. So one of them is your purpose, and one of them is your people, like who are your people? So I would invite you to take a look, if you're on social media, who follows you on social media? What kinds of things that you post on social media get the most attention? What story do you have that means a lot to you? Answer those questions about your childhood memories and ask yourself, what skills do you have? What could you do that is marketable? So who do I work with mostly? I mostly individually work with speakers, with coaches, with business consultants, with service providers, because that's been my background and that's the skill I bring, the marketable skill I bring to the table. I don't recommend doing job retraining and becoming a speaker if you don't speak for a living. I train coaches who are real estate agents and they coach in their industry, construction people and they coach in their industry.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm hearing is that the folks that are coming to you, yes, they may already speak for a living, or they might be teachers in their area, in their niche, in their workplace. People that when they begin to speak, their energy is charged. They feel like they couldn't get tired of this. Not because they got a big ego, it's because they actually just have a gift in that area. And then you see that, mold that, and help to direct that into a way that actually generates real revenue. Is that right?
Yes, and I think the piece that I didn't mention that I think is the key is I've worked with 6 people this week, and they came in and they said, here's what I want to do. And I said, that's beautiful. Why you? Tell me your story. Tell me why you. Explain to me why this matters. How are you going to do it that's different? And I ask all the tough questions. And we turn it around from this kind of generic, fuzzy, here's what I want to do, to here's who I am and why I'm the uniquely qualified person to do that, which is what you prompt your guests to do on your shows, I notice.
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea here is how do we create something that has such an attractor factor for the people that are already paying attention to you? And then, in a sense, do what you love to do and send an invoice.
I love that, yes. Can I steal that? Do what you love to do and then send an invoice. I like that.
Well, actually, the idea, the main thing that we're really
He says, no, I can't steal it.
Yeah,
I got that.
you can have it. Please take it. It's probably stolen from somebody else. But the idea there is that You know, in this industry, there's so many really great people. There's so many people that could do what you do, but I've seen you do it in a way that's one-on-one. It transforms people, and that's the thing that makes all the difference. This is the Business Spotlight. We've got to take another break. Come back. We're going to find out how to connect to Sherry Prindle today on the Business Spotlight. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Business Spotlight. We're having a fabulous show with Sherry Prindle. She's a coach, she's a mentor, and she's been both of those to me, by the way. She's a speaker. She's somebody that can help transform your life to where you know not only what your passion is, but how to connect that to your purpose. And then once you've connected that, you create a profession, something you can create an income off of, something that you can supplement or even replace what you're doing. And the idea in this quarter of the show is to talk about how to connect to Sherry and really why. So let's go right to that. How should people connect and why?
Yeah, so my name is fortunately unique enough that on all social media you just look up my name, Sherry Prindle. And I've got a website for the Professional Coach Academy. That's primarily where you're going to see all the various things I'm doing to help people make money making a difference. And I have a radio show called Make Money Making a Difference. That's all at professionalcoachacademy.com. You can also go to sherryprindle.com. The reason to come to me is, first of all, just to feel it out. Do you actually have a passion and a purpose that could turn into a profession? Do you have the stomach for going after that, either as additional income or to replace your current income? I'm happy to have a short discussion with you and just kind of hear about your dreams and see if that seems like a good choice for you. Some people decide to just take my life coach certification just to learn more about themselves and how to help people in their normal lives, and they keep their jobs and they're thrilled with what they're doing there. You know, other people already have businesses, but it's just not edgy enough. They're not really reaching people. They're having to go and push themselves to market. But when you really define who you are and you're vulnerable and you tell your story and you're in your purpose and passion, it's pull marketing. People come to you, and what I really want you to come to me for is one thing that you probably don't get effectively from anybody else in your life, and that's tough love. And I want to tell you that I believe tough love is not being tough on you. It's being tough on that programming inside of you that drives you, programming that got in there before you were even 5 years old that you didn't even get to have any say-so in how it got there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have this you that you vision, that you see, and then you've got the you that just walks through life and does what it does every day. And if you're kind of here observing the you that's going through life every day going, who is that, what is that, and why do I have to live like that? Come see me at least for a really great conversation to get a feel for where you are. Come to my coach certification at Professional Coach Academy. And if you know that you're really, really ready to follow that purpose and not just do it in your spare time, then really work with me one-on-one, and we'll do your whole Brand Yourself on Purpose program.
Yeah, well, one of the key things is don't give up your day job yet.
Right.
You know, it's the coolest thing that I've ever seen in my own life, and why Sherry is such a blessing to me, is that when you look at the thing that, when you find out what you don't get tired of, when you find out that one thing that gives you more energy the longer that you do it, by all means, find a way to make that your profession. The challenge is the road to it. For me, I remember I was in corporate America, and I was on the weekend going, speaking and touching other people in the way of helping them process pain rather than run from it. The challenge is I didn't know how to make any money doing that. I loved it. I would get done with a 3-day Sherry, and I couldn't get to sleep, you know? But the challenge here is that how do we begin to make the shift? And for the longest time, I didn't know. And finally, somebody challenged me, hey, if you're different on the weekend than you're in your job, can we get that guy here, right?
first bring that guy to your job, keep doing your job, right? Yeah.
And let the successes from that energy flow, so to speak, that emotion change you. And then find the way to step out further and further to where you're earning an income, right?
Well, you asked me what was unique about me. That is the one thing. I look at people and they tell me, they answer about 8 questions for me, and then I'm like, okay, here's what you could do. Boom, 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 boom. And like a half an hour later, I've got a whole action plan for them. Like, here's your business plan.
Yeah.
Now, don't, implement it incrementally. But I love that, I'm discovering the more and more I work with people and the older I get, it's not so much what you do, but who you are while you're doing it. Not where you go, but how you show up.
Absolutely, that's right. Well, the other thing you do just so well, I've seen it in my own life, I've seen it in others, is that when you begin to expand somebody's view, you have this, you know what, I've been there, I've done that, I've got the t-shirt, if I can do it, you can do it. And there's such an energy flow out of you that this birth happens in the heart of the other, and they go, I believe you. I mean, isn't that kind of the secret sauce?
It is. And imagine every single person I've ever worked with creating a community that explodes with that kind of energy and constantly agitates the other into growing and growing. That's really the vision.
Excellent. So we've got a little bit of time. What should they do now, and what should they expect?
So I want you to know that if you go to professionalcoachacademy.com, there's an opt-in there. There's also one on sherryprindle.com, and they're different from one another. The opt-in on sherryprindle.com is actually that exercise of finding your purpose.
Nice.
So let me go ahead and actually create, just for you right now, let me just go ahead and invite you to go to sherryprindle.com/doertv.
Okay.
And what you can do is just give me your email address, and I will send you this worksheet that takes you through that thing that we started here on the show about finding your purpose. That is such a powerful exercise, and you can do it over and over again for multiple memories. And if that doesn't get you to a place where you're ready, I don't know what will.
Well, and will they get the Prindle dozen? I think you said 14
Prindle
points?
dozen is what they'll get when they go to professionalcoachacademy.com.
Excellent. Today on the Business Spotlight, you have heard from a expert, a master at coaching, mentoring, and developing others. Developing you if you want. Go to sherryprindle.com /said Doer TV, is that correct? Or visit the Professional Coach Academy, professionalcoachacademy.com to begin to shift you out of the old stuff into a vision that can create a passion, a purpose, and a profession that can generate the living that you've always wanted. Sherry Prindle is a master at it. You should connect with her. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.